Hello everyone. Today I will talk about how to realize basic graphics and curve. Let's take a look at the demo. Draw rectangle. Real-time curve. Let's start with the first part, basic graphics. The display control we're going to use is basic graphic. This is the control we're going to use. The X and Y is coordinates of the upper left corner of the display area. The W and H is display area width and height. SP pointer address you can set by default or according to need. VP the variable storage space user can use the address range arbitrarily. Check the dotted line you can set different line style. Set the option to use dotted lines or dashed. We also need a touch control. Here we choose synchronous to return. This part selects the area coordinates for the box. Keycode value can be set by default. Audio ID number. You can set button effect. Select the page to switch to. First press. There are 3 modes to choose from. The first mode means no data is returned. The second mode indicates that the system detects that the first press will copy VP1's data to VP1. The third and fourth modes indicate that the T5L settings are invalid. Here we set the address to 2000. It will copy the data to this address. The data length is 2 bytes. Continuous press and release press is the same principle. Here we'll not explain. Next, I'm going to talk about instructions. We need to use UI software to modify the instruction. Let me take the rectangle as an example. This part means frame header. 13 is the data length. 82 stands for write instruction. This part represents the variable address. 3 means I'm going to start drawing rectangles. If the number of packets is 1, draw one rectangle. If the data is 0, 0, 0, 2 means draw 2. This data represents the coordinates at the top left corner of the rectangle. Coordinates need to be expressed in hexadecimal. This is the coordinate position in the picture. This data refers to the lower right coordinate of the rectangle. In this picture, that's the position. This data represents the color of the rectangle. The last data indicates the end of the drawing operation. If you want to draw something else, you can refer to the development guide. There will be detailed instructions on it. You can download it from our official website. The following is a demonstration of the operation process. This is background image prepared in advance. Open the software. Click New. Keep the resolution the same as the screen. Select File Path. Import background images. Then generate ICL file. Click Setting. Select Picture. Open it. Click Generate ICL. Select the DWIN ACT folder. Name it 32. You can change it in the CFG file, and then save it in the DWIN ACT folder. Select Display Control. Box selects the area of the artboard. Leave this part as default. SP pointer address is set by default. The variable address is set to 1000. If you want to change the style of the line, you can set this data. Now let's add touch controls. Box selector button. Properties are set on the right. The coordinates are generated automatically. Set button effect. Page switching. First press Settings. We choose the second mode. We set the address of VP1S to 2000. Note that the data is pre-placed at 22 bin file, and note that the relationship is double. The address of VP1T must be set to the same as the address of the basic graphic control in order to achieve DWIN graphics. Here we set 1000. Save it. Then use the UI software open the 22 bin file. Let's move to 4000. Enter the instruction to draw a rectangle. This is the instruction to draw a rectangle. Then select the top left coordinate. We can see that the coordinates are 128 and 114. Open the calculator. (128) to convert hexadecimal is 80, so we put 80. 114 converted to hexadecimal is 72, so we put 72. Next, enter the coordinates for the lower right corner. The coordinates are 336 and 243. (336 into hexadecimal is 150. (243 converted to hexadecimal is F3. Then enter the color. I enter FC00. Finally, enter the end instruction. Save it. We entered 14 data points. Save project. Copy the DWIN ACT folder to the SD card. Put the SD card into the screen slot and power it up. When the end appears on the screen, the demo is being burned. Unplug the SD card and power off. Power it up. Clicking the button will draw a rectangle. Now I'm going to talk about how to realize real-time curves. Let's start with the assignment of variable addresses. The DWIN screen supports a total of 8 channels of curves, which means that we can display up to 8 curves at the same time on the screen. And the curve data needs a buffer. If all channel curves are used at the same time, the address will be used as the curve buffer address. The address before 1000 is used as the system variable interface and cannot be used arbitrarily. The address is used in 2 cases. The first is whether to use a curve function. If you use the address is the curve buffer address. When a curved channel is not used, it can be used for other purpose. If all 8 curve channels are used, only after 5000 can be used. If none of the 8 curve channels are used, the address are free to use. The display control we're using is dynamic curve. This is the background of the preparation. We are going to do that. This section represents the selected position of the box. Y central, it refers to the height of the central axis. This is the height of this in the picture. VD central. Is the curve date value corresponding to the central axis, is generally taken as half of the sum of the maximum value and the minimum value of the data. The formula is the sum of the maximum and the minimum divided by 2. Calculate the height of this position. The maximum is 1000, the minimum is 0. The formula is the sum of 1000 and 0 divided by 2. Equal to 500. Just like this. You can select the color of the curve. Y-axis magnification. That's the formula we are going to use. Maximum value of curve data. We mean the minimum value of the curve data. The value of this data. That's the height. Multiply by 256. Divided by 1000. The result needs to be rounded down. The value of h is equal to the difference of y minus ys. Data source channel. We have 8 channels. Space of axis x. The thickness of the line can be adjusted. Curve moving direction. You can choose left to right, right to left. Width of curve. Zero is the width of one pixel point. 1 is a point second on the upper and lower sides of the curve, and 7 is the thickest. This last point needs to be noted. Let's take a look at the instructions that the curve sends. We need to use this software to send commands. Take the first channel as an example. 5A is frame header. 0D means data length. 82 means to write an instruction. This data means the curve buffer data writing is started. It is the system variable hardware interface curve fixed address. This data means start a curve buffer data writing operation and clear it after the CPU operation. It means the number of channels occupied. Represent two-word data. Zero the data to display the 0. Finally, the data to be displayed 1000. So let me show you how to do that. Open the software. Click New. Keep the resolution the same as the screen. Select File Path. Import background images. Then generate ICL file. Click Generate ICL. Name it 32. Select Display Control. Select the corresponding region. The arrow corresponds to a height of 261. VD Central. The formula is the sum of the maximum and the minimum divided by 2. It's 500, so we put in 500. Color I choose white. Multiple. The value of H is 288. So we need to figure out input 73. Input 10. Settings are done. Save it. Copy DWIN set folder to SD card. Put the SD card into the screen slot and power it up. When the end appears on the screen, the demo is being burned. Power off and unplug the SD card. Then power it up. Open the Software Connect serial port. Enter the instruction to send. Did you learn them?